Uh, I got to do the fade out better for that bullshit song. Hey, listen, everybody. Here we are. It's Tuesday night, 9:15 p.m. Eastern. You know what? You are here with me, and boy, you're a lucky son of a bitch. That's right. You know why you're so lucky? Because we have a motley crew today. We got some faces you've seen before and some faces you've never seen ever, unless you're on Instagram. You see them all the time. Then you get rid of them. Then you get tired of it. Then you kind of wish you would see them again. Then they pop up again. That's the way it is. It's the Instagram world. Let me bring in my co-host with the best color man in the business, as I like to call him. Get old Dan. Look at that.
Hello.
Down with the new setup. You know what I'm saying?
In progress. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. All right, and then we're going to bring in some new guests. I'm going to save the main guys towards the end. We're going to bring in. Let's see. This is my buddy ATL K Dog. This is Kevin. He's been in the chat before. He's been in the chat. This is the first time on the show. He's an Instagram friend. Kevin and I have chatted many times. I like the guy, or else he wouldn't be here. To be quite honest.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, if you've seen me, if you follow Elite, you've seen me all over the place. So
that's right. And then the next ones, which are my neighbors. Look at that, my New Mexico neighbors. Everybody, that's right. We just found this out. One of these days, we're going to go have some drinks, and it's going to be on them. That's right, because there's two of them, and they could buy more. Look at that. We got the Wooterses. Yes. Yeah. Hey guys. Other friends of mine. I got friends. I'm like in the mafia. They're friends of mine. I got friends, and there's a reason why these two are on, because they collect the genre of the two cats we're about to bring in, and we're gonna start off with Cold Blue Comics, and his partner in crime, Jason from Crime City Comic. Wow,
literally crime.
Wow, what a crew, right? This is
wait. Caesar, you're just Are you just picking people up off the street now on the virtual internet? We got the Hooters, we got K-Dog. What is this?
You know what? I wanted to surprise you guys with these two, because that's why I didn't mention to you that these guys were going to be on. And there's a reason why, because I like the genuine surprise of people, right? I do. It's a warm, fuzzy feeling. So let's see. First of all, let's welcome Abby from Prairie Meadows Nursing Home. Abby, as always, thank you so much for joining every night. It's been over a year now. You and all the golden oldies like to hang out. This show is really good for you guys, because you guys have said you love it when these two geezers show up on the show and talk about some old geezer books that we all love so much. Because if you, James and Jason, if you remember last time you guys were on, they were like, I have that book, or I used to have that book. You know, it's a pretty good deal. All right, Wiggle Baby, how you doing? Prairie, yeah, this is it. Yeah. We like them. Yep.
Hey, Abby.
Yeah, man, we got some stuff here, everybody.
And I see Carl is out there. We got some of our friends out here and in here. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, sounds great. So, hey, everybody. So we're going to be talking about the golden age and PCH, pre-Cold Horror, for all you non-PCH acronym people. And I brought on Kevin, ATL K-Dog, and the Wooters, because they collect this stuff. And I like to get their perspective of buyers who are into buying this genre of books, because I got to tell you, I've learned, I came in completely green to this world of PCH. And if it wasn't for James and Jason, I have learned so much from these two, because their live shows don't only just sell great books, and they do free giveaways, and they drink libations, and it's a fun time. They give you a nice history lesson of these books, and I got to tell you, it works. Before I met them, I didn't know who L.B. Cole was. Schomburg, Elias. There's all these. I know now. I feel. I don't know. I feel young about old books. You know, if that makes any sense. And I don't fucking read books, people. I don't read. You guys already know that.
I mean, you can read, right?
I can read. Yeah.
You just choose not to.
And last year, I finally had a chance to meet James and Jason in person, and they're as big as they look. I'm not a small guy, and they were up to me. So listen, people, they do exist. They're not AI. Okay, like a lot of people told me they're not real. James isn't real. He's like a hologram.
He's the real deal.
He's the real deal, man. So who else is here? Oh yeah, look at that. Father and Son Comics, man. How you doing,
Father,
man?
Son.
What's up, man?
Finally. Yeah, man. That's good. Hey, all you new people, make sure you subscribe and like on my YouTube page, will you? Please do that at least, you sons of bitches, for this free entertainment that we're giving you. Go and like and subscribe on the YouTube page. Hook a brother up. Our YouTube followers are hurting a little bit because we don't push it that much. But our Facebook followers, we have 92,000 followers.
92,000. Holy shit!
Wow.
Yeah, we're
Sounds
strong
like
on we're strong on the Facebooks.
Damn.
Even though they say it's for old people, that's why we're strong with the Facebooks, because all the old people go there and bitch and complain about comic books. It's fantastic. So have a chance.
Facebook is on the internet, right?
Yeah, Facebook is on the interwebs.
Okay, good.
You know, Facebook is on the internet, but
Okay.
The internet.
yeah, man. So this is what we're gonna do, because there's many of you guys out here who are very new to pre-code horror, and you keep hearing this terminology that says SOTI, SOTI. You hear Senate books. You hear all this wackiness. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to give the floor to James, and he's like Papa James. We're all gonna sit around the fire around his feet, and he's gonna tell us stories. There you go, Dan. He's gonna share stories. Kiss the ring, kiss the skull ring, and he's gonna tell stories about what is pre-code horror and how it became, and the whole Senate and the run he did a few years ago to collect the Senate books of the fame. So, James, if you don't mind, I'm gonna give you the floor.
Sounds good. Thank you. There's a photo over there.
There it is, a photo. Yeah.
That's this.
That's the only bottle opener I could
I
find.
think he's holding. Let's see here. There we go. Let's do this.
Hey, James, you should. Can you like tilt? Is it possible to tilt your? Are you on an iPad or a phone?
I'm on iPad. What's up?
If you tilt it sideways, you might go full screen.
There you go.
Whoa.
Do like a James Cameron like cry.
Hold on a second. But now I got to turn my head sideways to see you.
Is it sideways or up and down?
No, you're fine.
No, you're
Don't
good.
listen-
You're good. This is a landscape
Don't
now.
listen to that guy.
Much
Yeah,
better.
don't listen to that guy. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
My hands look huge in this.
They are huge. Wow.
That's true. That's actually.
Yeah, it is right. This
You
is
know what
on
they
the
say.
Instagram show.
I don't know what they say.
What do they
what
say? I don't want to hear.
What does the podiatrist say? I mean,
Yeah.
what does the urologist say? So I'll tell you.
All right.
Well,
Go ahead.
I was just a little quick background. I was a big collector of a variety of different genres, some modern, some silver, and then once I discovered, some of the golden age stuff. Is the camera there or there or there? There it is.
Right
Right there.
There it is.
Right there.
Right there.
Here. Yeah. Not here, but here. So I started collecting all the golden age books. I didn't collect them. I didn't think they were cool because they were old. I just thought they were fucking cool. And that's one of my favorite quotes about golden age books and some of these pre-code books, because they were sanitized in 1954. The pre-code books, all that means is after 1954, they have that little stamp in the upper right-hand corner. It says the Comic Book Code Authority has blessed it and deemed it acceptable for children to view. So prior to that, then you had all the really cool books. And I'll show you a project that I started. Let's see if we can do this with if you guys can see this okay. Can you see that?
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Yep.
So I'm on my. I spend half of my time in the Bahamas and half my time in the United States. And so I'm sitting on the couch, just having a cup of coffee, and I see this photo. I come across this photo online, and I was curious: who are these guys? What are they? Why are they pointing at comic books? You know, when was it taken? Why is it in black and white? What's it all about? So I started to do the research, and I found out who these guys were first. This guy was running for president of the United States. He was a senator from Tennessee, and these books were on their presentation board during the comic book trials. So this is when they put the comic books on trial, and the idea was simple. They thought that these comic books that are creating juvenile delinquency. So it was very simple. So children were reading these books, especially the crime books. It was going to turn them into juvenile delinquents. They were going to learn. Dr. Wortham, the psychiatrist that kind of headed this charge, had a pretty interesting philosophy, and that was that the comic book industry had nothing on Hitler. So Hitler was an amateur. That's his direct quote when it came to manipulating the minds of people, especially young people. And his goal was to bring awareness to that and make some changes. So that's what happened in these trials. They had two or three trials. There were hearings. They were held in New York City, and that's when all of our books changed in 1954. So I told Caesar to just ask me a little bit about timeline for the Senate project. So when I did this Senate project, I started it in 2021, and it's pretty simple. I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. Now that's dating it. How about that, Caesar? I found this photo.
Yeah.
That's for your full crowd right there, Caesar. Reader's Digest version. So I found this photo, and I started trying to identify the books, and I could see, some of them. And when you see this photo online, it's very blurry. It's very difficult to kind of make out the issues or the issue numbers, etc. But anyway, so I found out who owned the photo, bought the editorial rights, and they sent me this photo, which is a higher definition version, and I could track down most of them, and I started collecting them, right? But there were still some books I couldn't see, like the ones behind this dude. Then I came across this photo here, and I could see the books that were missing, from the other photo. And so I found out who owned this one. I bought the editorial rights to this one. So long story short, this started in 2021, and here we are, 2025. It was strictly just curiosity. I identified all these books. I talked to friends of mine to see if they recognized them. And after about, I'd say 3 or 4 months, I identified all of them and started to collect them. And by around 2023, I had finished the complete run, except for one book. And that one effing book was, I'll show it to you, because there's a lot of people that are trying to finish the run. And this is the one that's very elusive.
Yeah.
This is Justice Traps the Guilty, number 62. And a book that would, prior to being recognized as a Senate book, you'd find it in the dollar bin. Really. I mean, you go to a Comic-Con or some kind of convention, and half of these books would be found in dollar bins. I thought they were pretty easy to collect initially, but now they are very elusive and becoming harder and harder to find. And the prices, this was not my intention when I started the project, but the prices have gone insane. I mean, Jason has a good example for you. He recently purchased a Crime Does Not Pay 133 on eBay. And Jason, tell that story a little bit about what happened there.
Well, I think I've had the first one I got was $30. The second one I got, I found on eBay, and the starting price was $30, but this was about a year later, and wow, this guy put up about 10 Crime Does Not Pay books. Just he had no idea what he had there, and in the day before the auction, the price went up to $2,100 for a book that was probably worth $30 before James opened turned on the light on this project. You cannot find this book anywhere. You know, we between about 5 of us, we've come across it maybe 5 times, and to get that book, you know, I thought I'd be paying $100, $200. I needed it, but I was not prepared for that. So that's the effect of this project is just these books. That Justice Traps the Guilty, same story on that. It's a battle because there are lots of people who want these books, and there's not many of them. It's not like going out and finding a Silver Age book, which, you know, we think Amazing Fantasy 15 is a rare book. You know, not compared to the game we're playing now. Now this game, you know, we're talking. There's 10 out there. There's 5 out there that have been graded, not 1,000.
When Jason was trying to purchase that book off of eBay, I found the guy that was selling it, and he was on Instagram.
Wait, Dan. Wait, hold it, Dan. Did I buy that from you?
I would like to ask a question. I was
raising
my hand.
He's raising his hand.
Yeah, what's up?
Go ahead, you idiot.
Pre-code horror, does it apply to like the Golden Age? Like, I think Golden Age traditionally, it's like when Superman came, like 38, I think is when they consider Golden Age beginning. Does pre-code horror go before 38, or is it really in with Golden Age? It kind of like goes hand in hand.
So pre-code horror, when you say the word pre-code,
I mean, I know that's 54 with the Comic Code Authority, but
correct, and anything before 1954, and that a lot of people talk about PCH as, I mean, that's just part of it. I mean, there's pre-code horror, pre-code crime, as you know, and when it came to the Comic Book Code Authority, they were very concerned about the crime books more than anything else.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
So you really have pre-Golden Age.
Well, that would be the Platinum Age.
Platinum Age is in the 30s. Yeah,
and that's pre-Superman.
Yeah. So anything like I think it's up to 39 is considered Platinum Age.
Wow. So pre-code horror is really a subcategory of the Golden Age. It's just a description of the books that are horror books before the code came into play. So anything that took place that was horror based was game, and that's pre-code horror. The same for pre-code crime. Crime does not pay would fall under pre-code crime. And then there's the books that are Platinum Age that were kind of pre-Superman.
So this is what K-Dog was holding up earlier. So this once I found this photo, and you can see what's interesting is the title. So what they tried to do was to come up with a presentation board. Now these trials were televised and very public, right? And you had all these senators, one of them using comic books as part of his platform when he was running for president. And they chose this presentation board that had the 24 books on it. And there was a blend of crime books on here. There's a blend of horror, pre-code horror books. And they had a category called the weird variety.
Yeah, the weird
variety. So, but the biggest concern was the effects on juvenile delinquency. And the comic books went on trial at the same time they were having trials about juvenile delinquency in general. There was a big concern in the early 50s about juvenile delinquents, guys with getting into the gangs and the slick back hair and the leather jackets and, stealing and hanging out on street corners, all this terrible.
Yeah, the T-birds.
The T-birds, there you go. All this horrible stuff. But long story short, my project didn't, wasn't. I didn't dig into everything related to pre-code horror or the trials, and mainly I came across this photograph, and I was very curious about it, and it took a long time. It took about a year to actually find all the books, identify them correctly, and then eventually, after everything was submitted to CGC, Matt Nelson approved and put the comment on there that it was used in the Senate investigation on juvenile delinquency. And a lot of what's really cool is when you see like this. I love this. Okay, so here's this guy in 1954, one of the senators, and he's pointing at this book, right? At 71 years ago, he's pointing at that book. And here it is, 71 years later, and here's a copy of that book he was pointing at, and an 8.5.
Sweet Jeebus.
That somebody somebody took the time to protect this book.
Yeah.
And here it is 71 years later, and just this pristine condition. Part of me is just grateful to whoever, saved some of these books. One of the little catchphrases I have on some of my T-shirts is banned and burned in 1954. Well, they banned all these books, and they tried to burn a lot of these books as well. I mean, they had these celebrated bonfires with church groups and schools, and it was really seen as a menace at that time. And that's reality.
So you guys have a question here. What's the usual page quality on these PCH books? Cream?
So let me answer that one. Generally hammered, like James said. There was a holocaust to these books, and most did not make it here. The ones that did, most of them are in terrible condition. But like James just showed there are some that either by chance or by great care came out in very nice condition. It is very uncommon to find a high grade book from that era, but when you do, the value of it's astronomical. People want almost any pre-code golden age book that is well maintained, and these are because they're pieces of artwork. And not definitely reproducible. There's not a bunch of 9.8s in the golden age. You're lucky if you have a 3 or 4.0 that presents nicely.
Yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
I was saying to that point, it's not necessarily the grade; it's the way that the cover presents. Because I've seen 3s and 4s where the cover, I wouldn't have bought the book ever. But then I've seen 1.5s, 1.8s where most of the damage is on the back and the front looks damn near pristine, and you're looking at it going, "That's a 1.8 that I would buy for sure," because the cover looks beautiful.
You guys have always heard me on this show, for those who watch the show all the time. I talk about how happy I am when I collect silver, and if I get a silver in a 6.0, and I talk about how cool is it whoever owned these books behind me took good care of it to have a book for the 1960s, okay? 1960s at a high grade. And you're like, wow, to have a book from the 1960s in a 6.0, 7.0, someone took really – now throw that out the window and think about somebody holding a book from the 1940s, okay, mid-40s, early 50s, and such a high grade. We're talking about somebody who definitely didn't roll it up, put it in their back pocket, trade it with their friends, throw it in the room as soon as they got in from school. They didn't draw little beards and little wee-wees and pee-pees on the cover. Those delinquents, little wee-wees and pee-pees on the covers. They didn't draw that stuff.
No, and I'm out.
That's disturbing.
That's your collection, Caesar.
You son of a bitch. How dare you?
1940.
There you go. Oh my.
There we
God.
go. And think about this, my friends, especially those of the Prairie Meadows, right? He's holding a book from what year did you say, James?
1940.
He's holding this book is from 1940, and it's graded in a 5.5. That book has lasted this long. This book has lasted this long.
These books are 100 years old.
And look at that. Look at the way that the colors.
That red, on that book. That green is outrageous.
If you told me it came out 2 years ago, I'd believe you.
Oh, 100%.
What's it going to do to these collections when these books start hitting 100 years old? I mean,
we're not far.
We're not far.
Well, and to the Comic Code Authority, you got to remember that there's also those 3 issues in ASM that didn't get the Comic Code Authority on them, only because they were drug prevention.
They were drug
issues.
Shows.
And they were about drug prevention, but they mentioned drugs,
right?
And the Comic Authority said, "Nope, we're not gonna stamp it."
A couple of those ASMs around near just under 100.
Yep, that's the ones. That's the ones.
Yeah.
They're 90. It's like 95, 96, 97,
95,
or
96.
There's like 2 or 3 of them in a row, but that's the same thing. I mean, if you go back and look at them, they're talking about drug prevention. It's not like they're telling kids to do drugs. They're trying to prevent drugs. And the comic company said, nope, because it mentioned drugs.
You said drug.
You don't get the stamp.
Yeah, but it's the message of drug prevention that screwed everybody up, because they're like, guys, when you take this, you forget about all your problems. And people are reading that going, it's not really preventing me.
Sweet.
Right.
I got problems. Where's the drugs?
Yeah.
So let me ask Kevin and Wooters, and I'm going to ask Wooters and you guys first. As a collector, and yes, you occasionally sell, but mainly as a collector, I like to say, right? What really what draws you to this era of books? Why do you enjoy going on their shows and claiming their books? What's the allure?
Hey, Akita.
So I'll jump in for this one. So for me personally, so I did not grow up. I just turned 44. I did not grow up collecting comic books at all. It wasn't my thing. I loved Batman. I remember the Keaton movies. That was about it for me. So flash forward, a bunch of kids, married, all this stuff. I think it was 2020. Something happened at work and I had to take multiple months off, if you will. And somehow I stumbled upon Whatnot. It was pretty fresh back in 2020. Mm-hmm. And I saw like a couple things that I was slightly into, like some Ninja Turtle stuff, things like that. And it kind of caught my interest. That's how I actually got into comic books. I tried for a while to buy into your traditional superhero stuff for like years. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, and it hasn't really been that long, it's maybe been a year that I caught on to Code Blue and Crime City, James and Jason. And when I stumbled upon their show and I realized, for me personally, like I said, I wasn't in that traditional, so the stories and all this stuff, it doesn't really click with me. But if I just see a cover that just blows my mind, it's like, holy shit, what am I looking at here? And when I saw their show and I saw those walls, and I was like, dude, this is the baddest shit I've ever seen in my life. And it blew my mind. And so that was it for me. And then I immediately was like, man, if I had seen these guys a few years ago, I could have saved a shit ton of money and what I actually wanted to start getting. So for me, it's just the beauty. I like to see it with my time and what I can do, and what I can actually appreciate is what I can put on the wall and walk by every day and be like, holy shit, dude, look at this badass cover. Like that's what it is. And if you ask me, like, yes, there's a lot of moderns. I have tons of Betty Pages up here and Dave Stevens, stuff like that. But those are like the traditional covers that really set it off for me, I guess, if you will. So that's what drew me there. And eventually Wendy kind of jumped in and was kind of like, dude, what are you watching? Like, what the hell? Why are you always on your fucking phone looking at the stuff? And I was like, dude, you got to watch these guys. You got to freaking watch them. I'm telling you right now, like, I think you'll appreciate it. And so she watched one show and that was it. The rest was history. And now I can't hold her back. She's worse than I am.
Monster.
Oh, she's on before you are.
Yeah. So for me, that's kind of where it came. It's only been about 5 years collecting comic books in general, but the pre-code horror, all this just brilliant stuff that came out. And I think of all the time, I'm like, dude, I look at that stuff and I'm like, this cover is crazy. I can only imagine what they were thinking in the 50s. You know what I mean? And it blows my mind. So that's where I want to go. That's why I'm trying to sell a lot of shit that I have, and I appreciate all this stuff. I think it's all great. And there's, like I said, I do enjoy some of the, I guess, newer stuff or whatever you want to call it. But that's why I started thinning out my collection, because I found the true route that I was like, dude, this is where I want to go. This is what I want. These are the books that I want to have on display in my house.
It's like listening to my own thoughts, man.
It is.
It is like listening.
Did you
to my
guys
own thoughts.
ever? So I know back in that time of pre-code horror, a lot of notable artists worked anonymously to kind of like avoid the controversy that would go with that kind of work, right? Did you ever find these books and discover that, holy shit, these are some amazing artists that are now have a lot of notoriety, and I didn't know at the time when I picked up this book it was their work, but you learn that it is their work.
There's a few like that. Well, L.B. Cole, which is most very recognizable name. There was one book that I recently discovered. It was a crime book, and I looked at that cover and I thought, man, that really reminds me of L.B. Cole, specifically one of his L.B. Cole power books. And so I did some research, and I started digging into L.B. Cole's biography and some history books. And sure enough, I came across that book, a reference to it. And it said that L.B. Cole did the very first cover for this run. And he signed all of his work he signed, except for this one. And why he didn't sign it was part of the publisher Fox Feature Syndicate. And people think that EC Books was kind of the start of the controversy. No, Fox Feature Syndicate started all the the uprising of the parents in churches and schools, because they had women in prison, women beating each other up, all kinds of just really very creative and interesting covers. And so L.B. Cole did this one cover for them, and he didn't sign it because he didn't want to be associated with Fox Feature Syndicate.
With such bad boys.
Yeah, the way I describe Fox Feature Syndicate is, when you're talking about adult magazines, you have Playboy, Penthouse, and then Hustler and some other. And Fox Feature Syndicate is like truly the Hustler of the industry, comic book industry at that time. And so he did not want to be associated with it. But there's some other that are, to me, even more interesting than that were the women. So you had Lily Renee, specifically, who did a lot of Planet books and worked for Fiction House. She went under L. Renee, or just did not want people to know that she was a female, and neither did the publishers. So not just that she was female, she was young, okay? She was female. And when I say young, 18, like she escaped Nazi Germany to come to the U.S. And then she was also Jewish. So she had to, at that time, because we're talking about the 50s, kind of hide all that stuff. And you look up Lily Renee, Planet Comics. Holy shit. This woman made some incredible covers. And what the best part of Lily Renee is, she escaped Nazi Germany. And some of her covers were like directly at, they were subtle, but also direct. So she had this one cover, this Planet cover in particular, where there are these zombies, but they're wearing Nazi helmets, right? So they're obviously Nazi zombies, and they're wearing boots, but the boots were go-go boots, and they were pink.
Yeah.
And can you imagine? I mean, they sent these books, to the GIs in Germany. Can you imagine Hitler seeing that fucking book? His head exploded. And the fact that she was 18 years old and she did that book is just bad.
James, I kind of picture that as a rip on perhaps like a Nazi promotion poster.
It's so good. I mean, the fact that she did that, it was subtle, but it was straight in your face. And that's right in World War II while it's going on.
It's surprising that they haven't made, unless there is, and James and Jason, you might correct me, but a documentary on specific artists like her and her story. I mean, that would be that sounds like an Amazon Prime movie, right? Where
there's several women like that. Yeah.
This and that. They become comic artists. They were shunned. They had to go under pseudonyms to be males. They never showed their faces. I mean, that kind of stuff. And this is the reason. Now I'm going to get to you, Kevin. This is, to me, one of the reasons.
There's the pink go-go boots.
Oh, hold on there, Dan. Hold on. We gotta see this in the picture.
Which is kind of weird because I have a pair of boots just like that now. So she was just ahead of her time.
She was. I've been trying to find something like that. So can you DM me later?
Amazon, they got everything.
If you look at that cover closely,
Jesus.
So there, he's obviously some sort of a zombie or ghoul of some sort. But look at the helmet. That is definitely a Nazi, helmet. And then the boots. It just and Lily Renee, when she drew women, they were spectacular.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I kind of like the way she's put together. I'm not going to lie.
She drew women in a.
Well, you'd think that was a teenage boy that short skirt, headlight cover, what we call, and headlight's not like a bad word. That's how it was referred to in that period. But yeah,
a lot of her women were also powerful too, which she did a good job of that. So
I'm not familiar with that slang. What does that mean? Headlights.
So headlights is Dr. Wortham. So
yeah, right, Dan.
So Dr. Wortham interviewed all these kids. And he was a psychiatrist that spearheaded the war on comics. And one of the kids, when he was interviewing one of these teenagers that was juvenile delinquent, he said, "Yeah, I read comic books, and that's why it's a problem." And Dr. Wortham wrote this book, Seduction of the Innocent. When people hear about Sodi books, that's what they're talking about. But one of the kids said, "Yeah, we like the headlights covers." And Wortham said, "What? What do you mean headlights covers?" And that's where that came from. It was one of the kids that was one of his patients coined that phrase, headlight cover.
And we're still using it today.
We're still using it today. Yeah. So Kevin, so this question goes to you the same as I asked the looters over there. What draws you to this genre? What raises your flagpole?
The difference for me is I did collect comics as a kid. So like I have 3 Spawn 1 9.8s that I am the original owner of because I bought them off the newsstand and no one else has ever owned them. I have other books that are like that as well. So, but I always collected X-Men originally, and I have the 1 through 143, 144 run through Days of Future Past. I have all of them slabbed. I've been upgrading them as I go. But how I got to Free Code Crime was actually going through these first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you love your Disney books, Kevin.
And so this one's from and this one's from 1944, and it's one of the few that has one of the dwarfs on the front. So they almost all have Donald on the front, and there's very few that have Mickey on the front as well. And so it was that and Looney Tunes, and then I started picking up some crime books, and that was probably 2018, 2019, 2020, and then I bought on Facebook and eBay and went to comic stores and stuff like that. And then there's Good Old Comics was on Facebook originally, and then they moved to Instagram. And that's actually was my reason to come to Instagram was because I bought from them on Facebook and I followed them to Instagram, and it opened up. And then, I mean, Jason and James can tell you, I mean, they'll tell you I used to snipe books all day long on their auctions. I mean,
you are the snipe master.
I have a short box of nothing but pre-code books, and I've sold a lot of books, but I still have a ton of pre-code. I'm still working on the CSS run. I don't have 22. That's going to be the hardest one to fill. It'll be like picking up X-Men 1, but I'll eventually get it. That one you see in the picture back there, the number 20, that one was sheer luck. That was while they were at the show in Florida. Not this year, but I think it was last year.
Last year, 2 years ago. Yeah, okay. WonderCon. Yeah.
Yep.
Or MegaCon.
And they literally put it up for a ridiculous price, and people were throwing $100 credits on it, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, why isn't anybody buying this book? I was like, he already has it listed for like $400 below what it should go for, and now people threw in $300 in credits, and I'm like, screw this. So I bought it. I was like, there's no way. I was like, I'm not letting that book go. I'll never see it again. And so, it was some of that, but those guys really got me all the way in. But I was already collecting pre-code, not necessarily pre-code horror, but pre-code books prior to that. with the Disney, the Looney Tunes, those type of books, and then it kind of morphed into the crime books because there's really a ton. I mean, a ton of pre-code crime books. I mean, they're all over the place, and so that was kind of where I went first. And then when I found those guys, I started picking up pre-code horror books, and then, I mean, I have a ton of pre-code horror books I bought from Jason and James. I mean, a lot.
For crime and code, I mean, question for you guys. So, is this something that you always collected, or is this something like, like for me, I was an 80s kid, so I was always in the Turtles and Spider-Man, all that stuff. I never would have started out with pre-code books, ever. Is it something like you inherited this passion from like your dad or your brother, somebody that collected, or is this just all from you?
You know what? Let me answer first because Code Blue story is gonna be a little different. But I'm like you. Up until about 5 years ago, it was moderns, and then I kept working my way back to silvers. But it really hit me about 4 or 5 years ago that there, I like it's not that it's all about the value, but to me, it's the rarity. And when we're looking at Hulk 181s and X-Men 1s and ASMs, I thought those were rare. But then when I dipped my toe in the golden age and said, okay, this is rare, where there's only a few of them or 100 of them, that was all I needed. And then I said, you know what is, one day we're going to see, a lot of the collections. Someone may whip out a box of Hulk 181s that, just new old stock that was just sitting there, but no one's whipping out a box of EC books that were just untouched, and being able to collect those and be part of history that very few are. It's really such a niche community. Even still, I mean, more and more people come in every day as they kind of go down the rabbit hole, as I think everybody likes to coin the phrase. But it is a whole different world when you're playing in this sandbox. Now, James, I think, has a little different.
Yeah, so I collected books for a long time and had some modern, had some silver. And I was meeting with a guy, and he had some big books. I was some first appearance silver age books. And as he was taking out these books, like at Daredevil 1 and all this kind of stuff, he pulls out this Mystic. And I said, what's that? What do you have there? He said, oh, that's PCH. What are you talking about, PCH? It's pre-code horror. And it was this cover, I forget the issue number, but it's a Mystic cover. You got a guy and cigarettes falling out of his mouth, and he's holding this glass, and it's got like a dead dude in the glass. And I just, kind of like Mr. Wooters, when I saw that artwork, I just said, holy shit, I don't give a fuck about any of this other stuff. I like this. Yeah. Whatever that is, I want that.
Yep.
And all of it. I want all of it.
And then I started to buy that stuff. And I had a really nice, collection of pre-code books going. I just started selling off all my modern and silver. I'll still, pick up a first appearance, big key silver occasionally. But I was so fascinated by just the art. First, the artwork and the history. So I love art of all kinds, and a bit of an art student and an art historian. And I love 50s politics, meaning, or the history of art, because you had, we're out of World War II now, and then we started to repeat shit that we were fighting against, which was just this hypocritical, crazy shit that I find fascinating. And that's when I stumbled across this, and I just was curious about history. And then, but like just listening to Mr. Wooters talk about his story, when I see a cover, like if I put all my, like I have a whole run of Perfect Crime. These are not necessarily expensive books, but when I see that whole run of Perfect Crime on that wall behind me, I'll just back up and sit in a chair, have a cocktail, and look at it. I'm like, this is fucking beautiful. And it's from, Perfect Crime is, late 40s to early 50s. And there are some of the best covers and little things like the way that they did the way they wrote Perfect Crime, the the font that they, stuff that very deliberate about the things that they did, and I think about what was it like to be a publisher like an EC Comics, and your artist walks in and he goes, I'm thinking, I just drew this. What do you think? What do you think of this? I'm going to go with this. What do you think?
Run with it.
That's right.
The publisher's like, let's do it. Let's go.
That's right.
Put it up. Print that shit.
Print
Print it
that
right
shit.
now.
Well, hey,
that's the stuff that really I just imagine listening to Mr. Wooters talk about. Can you imagine what some of these meetings were like with these guys?
Yeah.
Like, no, that's okay, dude. And they come up with all these ideas. Oh my god!
Tell me if I'm wrong, and this is going to everyone but Dan. There's got to be there's this romance bond, right, with these covers, and even I feel it. There's something very romantic, sexy about these covers, even though they could be very gruesome at times. The guy's hanging, but
just
there's
romantic
something.
and sexy.
I gotta tell you,
that book sucks, James. You should send that to me.
It's romantic and sexy.
That's right.
There's
Even the colors are
that's what I was gonna say. For me, it's the colors. That's the sexy part. The purples and the greens and the blues and the teals and the oranges, the reds, and the way certain artists combine them, it makes this romance feel of this genre, because it's a rabbit hole. I'm not gonna lie. It is something that you either do like me, and I've been lucky to have books. Thank you to James and Jason. I've been lucky to own 2 of the Senate books, but it is, and I'm going to say to Wooters and to you, Kevin, it is a rabbit hole you could easily go down, right?
Well, I saw Mutant Mansion make a comment. He said it's hard for him to get into it because he wants to read them, but also to preserve the artifacts. But if you want to read them, that's how you read them.
Absolutely.
Right. That's right.
And
so
you could do that.
Read them.
And also, there's if you go on to Amazon and you type in, so if you go to Amazon, for example, and you type in, Web of Mystery, this particular Senate book, there's most of the Senate books have already been reprinted, and you can buy the actual
the
individual copy and read it. And I read them when I'm on a plane, and I was recently reading. It wasn't a Senate book, but it was a Clue, one of the Clue books from early 50s.
Pre-code crime.
And I was like, man, this would be a fucking great movie. It's just a great movie. I mean, they had the story in there was phenomenal. And it was just the idea.
Oh, there we
Here's
go.
one too.
There it is.
There you go.
Yeah. So they also sell these bad boys right here.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, obviously, look at the size of this beast.
Holy shit.
He's a
Man,
fucking metric ton.
That's
I have this thing. It's still sealed.
That's a pre-code horror book / a plywood piece of plywood.
It's an artist edition.
Board your windows up with that.
Got some beautiful books behind you there.
But again, it's another, like K-Dog was saying, it's another beautiful way where you can look at all this stuff, without having to invest $1 million.
But I mean, that's like holding a sheet of drywall and trying to read that damn
No,
thing.
it weighs.
But this isn't. I mean, this is a regular size book, and
that's a regular book.
You can pick up for 100, 150, somewhere in there, and there's 4 of them in it. So, I mean, you're looking at $25-$30 each to be able to read them. So, it's a cost-effective way to be able to read them. That's why I picked it up, was because I wanted to look in them.
And most of the local comic shops do have a pretty good run of various common titles of the pre-code books that are accessible.
Yeah.
Is that a zombie barber, Lee Elias, behind you, the Wooters?
Right here.
There you go.
Let me see that bad boy.
This is a great artist. This is Lee Elias. So there's a bunch of pre-code horror books where they feature barbers. But this guy, if you zoom on this on this face, look at the barber's face. I mean, that's
oh man,
That's a face only a barber can love.
yeah.
So you see how if you look at the barber and you look at his shirt and how it has it has this
Like glow.
It has this energy to it, like this tension.
Yeah.
Right. When he does the shirt and just the bib around the dude that's getting shaved, it has this certain tension to it. When you look at a Lee Elias cover, even a romance cover, it has that just this tension, and it's just something as simple as him drawing clothing that makes it special, very unique.
So we haven't even talked about it. So let's get into this a little bit. So not too long ago, CGC made this announcement that they're going to start, and this is old news, but at the time they were going to start grading pulp books.
Yeah.
So everybody and their grandmother started grabbing all these pulp books left and right, and we're going to make a killing. We're going to make a killing off these pulp books. I'm going to send them in 10s, 20s, hundreds at a time, get them all graded, and then I'm going to flip them, and we're going to make tons of money. Well, I think yes and no. I think for maybe some specific pulp books, and James and Jason, correct me, some, and that the other ones are just pulp books that got graded, right? Now, for those of you who do not know, or maybe have even heard of the word, you keep hearing the word pulp. Can you gentlemen explain what exactly is a pulp book?
Sure. Yeah. Well, James can explain. I'll grab one.
So a pulp also it refers to the actual paper. So they use understand most of these pulps were mid-30s,
Let's see if you have the same
mid-30s around the Depression.
There you go.
And they used the pulp, very cheaply graded paper. So what he's holding up there, that's a Margaret Brundage cover. Margaret Brundage is the artist, and if you like history, and Margaret Brundage is a good example. She had to pretend she was a guy. People thought that Margaret Brundage was a middle-aged white dude that wore a white business shirt and a black tie.
Because she always used M.
But actually, she was a very fascinating woman. Chain smoker, very gregarious. Went out and married. Basically, her husband ran a brothel and a speakeasy. Slim, and his name was Slim. I mean, it doesn't get any better. And she was a prolific, just a wonderful artist, and did some of the most controversial pulp covers. But what's very cool about Brundage, that particular artist that they're holding up, Jason held up, and Mr. Wooters, is that she studied formally. Okay, so she studied in Chicago, a formally trained artist, and she specialized in fashion art. So you'd have like Gucci or these big fashion industries, and she would go to a fashion show and draw the dresses, right? And if you look at any pulp that Margaret Brundage did, and you see a dress on them, you could tell that was her specialty. And it's very difficult to paint and draw fabric. If you talk to any serious artist, especially like from pre-Raphaelite era, very difficult to draw fabrics because the change in the depth and the colors and etc. And she was a specialist in that. And actually, she went to art school with Walt Disney, and she was the editor of the editor-in-chief of the school newspaper. And Walt Disney had to submit his art to Margaret Brundage, and she approved it or didn't approve it. So
Wow.
she's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
But she didn't. The reason she got her career got cut short because she was number one, and she took care of her mother, and she lived in Chicago. And then when Weird Tales and all the publishers ended up going to New York, she couldn't move to New York because her mother was so ill, and she tried a couple times to take the train to New York, but because her artwork was done in charcoal, most of the time it didn't even make it, for the whole ride, and the train was very delicate. So I mean, that's a very famous artist. And then also she became ostracized because the publisher leaked that she was a female, which is fucking bullshit. But she is a fascinating woman. Never, very rarely gave any interviews. There's just a couple of articles about her history that I've read, and that's somebody, you know, people say, who would you like to go back in history and talk to? I'd like to have dinner with Margaret Brundage and hang out with a while.
Yeah, that would be the cool biopic.
I would love to chill out with her for a while.
You know, so the thing, going back to pulps, it's basically a magazine. Now, for comparison, let me show you guys a comparison here, because these pulps, they have what, Jason, 3-4 stories within that book, right?
Multiple stories.
Some, not all.
Okay, so this is a regular size, right? We're talking regular size comic book from 1973. This is the pulp, right? Let me show you guys in comparison the size of these things. Now, it's about the same size as this, but look at the thickness of the pulp compared to the regular size.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's square bound.
It is almost square bound, and the size of it, let's see if I could do this right, is half. It's tiny. Yeah. It's like a little pamphlet. Where are we at? We're backwards here. So what happens when your fucking camera's reversed? There you go.
There you go.
It's half the size. So
yeah, thick like this.
It's thick. Now this, the one I'm holding, is from 1942. And the cool thing about this, and I gotta be honest, I didn't really pay attention to this. It's a cover by A. Art Tilburn, Haynes Bach art, and H.P. Lovecraft story.
Yeah, Hans Bach, and yeah,
is it Hans Bach?
Hans.
I like the fact that it's an H.P. Lovecraft story. I just
there's so many of them. He was a busy dude.
This is a big Brundage pulp. This is from 1934, and it's the second appearance of Conan, as in Conan the Barbarian, on the cover. And it's Brundage did. Jason held up the Blue Snake. She did a couple of Python covers, and this is the Jade Python cover. And just look at this art. I mean, just look at the colors. And this is outside of the Mylar, 1934.
You said that's the second appearance of Conan on the cover?
Yeah, second cover appearance of Conan.
Is that Conan, the guy in the red there?
Correct.
Yeah, so the second cover appearance.
It's not the long-haired blonde.
But I love this. Here I am, right? It's 2025, and I'm just flipping through a book from 1934. Yeah, what do we got here? What's this?
But go ahead, show that there's not a lot of pictures inside. It's not
it's a story, right? I mean, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's
what's really crazy is this is right in the middle of the Depression. Nobody has jobs. A lot of people couldn't eat, and this pulp was 25 cents, and that was a lot of money.
Oh, that's a lot of coin
in 1934.
Yeah.
1934. So this was one of the main sources of, for people to escape their reality of, no jobs and the stock market's crashed and, having this big bread lines and,
right.
Not knowing where their next meal was coming from. Their kids don't have any food. I mean, this was one of the main sources to escape your reality.
Before we move on, it's so cool to see some of our friends here from Instagram, Vintage Shark, father and son, Mr. You were on the show. He got his butt hurt. He's like, I didn't get an invite this time. Sorry, pal, you were on last time. All right, we give Wooters and Kevin a chance this time.
Look at the Jason. Hold it back a little bit.
I gotta put it on my shirt.
The problem is there you go.
So I always thought this would make a fantastic tattoo, but look at the these are all bodies.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
They're bodies making up that skull.
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah,
it's some good stuff. And remember, people, and I'm going to remind you guys, for everybody who's on the show, go to the YouTube page. Since you're already watching this on the YouTube, go ahead and subscribe and click like. We need more of you people on there Hey, if you want to join the Facebook page, you only have 92,000 followers. What's a few more hundred or hundreds? Do that if you want. Same name, Comic Menu. But listen, we appreciate you guys being here for one. Two, these guys, I like to bring them on. It feels like every 2-3 months because we need a little golden love on this show once in a while to remind you guys where this all started.
Well, you know what, Caesar? I'm glad you I wanted to wheel back to this because Dan asked the question about pre-code crime and pre-code horror, and it's not always. I don't always have these books because they're really, as James and I say, tough book. So I've got two tough books here.
Yep, tough book.
Okay,
Jason.
This one, this is Famous Funnies issue 27. And this is from 1934, so it's not even Golden Age. It's
Jason. Your background is
your green screen. Your green screen's doing some crazy.
Yeah, I know. Well, if I try and show this, it screws it up a little bit. So, but just bear with it.
You're good.
So
you're good.
So this is the first crime book. This is the first time that crime was in comics, and this is Famous Funnies is notable for being the first comic book series, and this is the 27th issue of it. And this is where kind of crime came into the books, into the comic world. And then this one, and this is noted by in the Seduction of the Innocent, Classic Comics number 13 is the first horror comic.
Look at that.
So they're both of these are very historically relevant to the discussion. And why does this was pointed out by Dr. Wortham in Seduction of the Innocent as making his list of books that cause juvenile delinquency. Why? Because Mr. Hyde beats the girl with his cane, and that's just violence, and someone will obviously do that now.
It's just not nice. That's not nice, Jason.
Hey, wait. Is that anything like a tire iron? Just out of curiosity.
Wait.
Hold, that's a drowning one, right?
We had a discussion about this book. So
the tire iron. Yeah,
initially,
James, we talked about this all night once.
So the thought was he took the time to wrap the tire iron in that orange cloth, and the thought was maybe he was being.
You don't want to get your tire iron dirty.
Well, I was thinking maybe he's being a little more gentle. And then somebody on the show said no fingerprints. I'm like,
that's right, exactly. That's
and it comes to show you the quality of people who watch their shows. It's fucking fantastic, man. They're giving crime tips. If you're gonna kill someone.
So I was talking about Brundage, and so when I told you she was a classically trained fashion artist. So understand before the Depression, there was money flowing and people had money to buy, high fashion type stuff. And that's what her specialty was. And you can see, look at this. I mean, this is a classic Brundage.
So pretty.
Look at that.
It is, and I'm gonna go back. Romance, right, Wendy? Right,
yes.
Booters. This is what I'm talking about.
The tangerine,
the color, sexy.
Hey, what grade you got on that, man?
There's nothing like that book.
So this was a giveaway on the last show. I gave this away on the show.
I know.
Oh,
what?
Yeah, that was the one we were at that damn.
Yeah,
my damn family in town. It screwed me up for that giveaway.
Can you believe that? You had a chance. You had a chance to win that, but you had to deal with the damn family.
I told my brother I'll never fucking forgive you for that. Dude.
That's awesome.
I don't have a lot of regrets, but one of them is I had a 7.5 graded copy of Suicide Chapel. I sold it.
It regrets.
Wasn't
You know
that
what?
the highest
I don't have a lot, but that one I kind of wish I had held on to that.
All right.
Beautiful.
I like this. As a matter of fact, James.
Beautiful.
I like this topic since you already just mentioned your regret, James. Yeah. I mean, Jason. James already described about his regrets. What's your regrets?
What's my regret? Boy, I'll tell you because I fall in love with these books, and then I sell them, and then I'm sad and I have to find it again. I think my biggest heartache of a book that I just absolutely loved was not a comic, but a pulp. And it was The Amazing Stories from 1928. I think it was issue number 29, which is the first appearance of Buck Rogers. And an absolutely iconic cover that just was almost my centerpiece. And I put everything up for sale, but sometimes I put the prices to dissuade people from taking them from me. But then, but for me, the fun is hunting it again. I have not gotten a new one yet, but that's the one that I miss the most.
Do you still have your Buck Rogers #1?
Which one?
Do you still have your Buck Rogers #1?
I actually still have that on the wall there.
Yeah, I have that book too. I actually got it from Greg Holmes. That's an awesome book.
The Buck Rogers from the 40s.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm looking at mine from here right now. I just love the Buck Rogers books.
What about you, Kevin? What's that one book you regret selling or getting rid of?
I don't know if I have a regret selling. I mean, because typically the books I bought, I mean, the ones that I've sold, it's been books I didn't mind getting rid of. So, I mean, my more regret is probably a couple of books I bought during the hype. I'm glad I didn't buy my X-Men 1 during the hype because I'd have been mega pissed. But
lost your ass off.
Yeah. So that one I had. That was one that I mean, it's not a golden age, but it was one of those books that I never thought I was gonna finish the run, to be honest, because the books just went through the roof. And that was the one book I was missing. I had the complete run except for #1. And
well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to skip over Dan because he regrets being on the show. How about Wooders? What do you guys think?
Listen, I don't have a pre-code horror book or a golden age book in my collection, sad to say, but I'm learning a ton. I love that. I love that.
That's why I brought you on, my Padawan, so you could learn this stuff.
I love it. And I will say, for not having read these types of books, those covers are sexy as fuck.
There you go. You want to read? All right. What do you say, Wooders?
So I don't have. Well, I have a few books that I regret, but my biggest regret is I sold to Greg Holmes, and just like you said, I threw an astronomical bullshit price because I was like, nobody's gonna pay for that.
Yeah, that's where my Buck Rogers is.
But I had a beautiful hand painted Vampirella.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I think K-Dog, you might have been in that show.
I was.
Like, it's okay.
And I threw some bullshit price out there, like, why would they do that? And he took it.
Gone.
He actually asked
I go buy it
times through a show. We had it on the wall. It was actually right there. That's where it was. There. And it was there for a few shows that we had. And he kept asking and asking. I was like, not for sale, dude. And then I threw a bullshit price out there, and I should have known better because he bought it. So
well, let me tell you, if you'd have watched the Couch Crew, because they had this giant CSS 22, it was carved in wood. I got to see it because they had it
with
there
the real hatchet.
With the real hatchet, that thing was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And if you ever get him to show it, you gotta get him to show it because it is literally the coolest thing ever. And they had it, and he wanted it, and they threw. I don't remember what price they put on it, and that damn thing was gone just like that. And I was like, bye.
I'm gonna ask probably the hardest question of the night, and I'm gonna start with Dan first because he's not paying attention. I'm gonna ask Dan. And I'm gonna give
Mrs. Wooders. Does she have a regret?
Oh, does she ever? Oh, I figured you guys were a package, but hey, Mrs. Wooders, what do you got? What do you regret selling?
I don't.
And don't say Vampirella.
Yeah, that painting, but I knew it was going to a good home, and he wrote me and promised me if he ever sold it, which he has no intentions to, that he'll give it back to me.
Oh,
I don't know. I think so. I got into comics because I actually did collect when I was younger, but it was all independent. I grew up in Southern California, and my sister's an amazing artist, and she used to work for Disney. And then I'll try to make this quick. And then she got bored with the animation, so she started working for Top Cow and worked with Michael Turner on like Witchblade and fathom, and she actually got me all into it. And then she's the one who got me hooked on Dawn. And I don't know, you guys probably know I'm like in love with Dawn. And I think one of my biggest regrets is like I got rid of a lot of that stuff because I was young and I got busy and life happened and I had to move and this and that. So I got rid of a lot of my stuff. And that's honestly, so I didn't sell it. I had to get rid of it or yard sales to get to where I needed to be in the moment because of life. But now, like James said earlier, I'm like in grad school. I work full-time nights as a nurse. I'm like, 4 boys, busy. And I was like, what are you doing over there? I want to see. And he wanted to start trying to sell here and there. And then I wanted to support that. So he took me, he's like, you got to go watch one of these shows. And I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. I can like be myself and talk shit. And, they understand like my sense of humor. And ever since then, I've just like, you know what? And over the years, I didn't even know it, but he had started like, because I had told him about Dawn, like getting me stuff. And then now I'm just learning about like pre-code horror and loving it. And what I love about watching, our Saturday night Code Blue and Crime City shows is it's not just like, here's this book, here's that book. And if you know, because I freaking, that's like, I don't know. So fucking tell me. Sorry, I'm cussing. We're in an old folks
Cuss
home.
more. I don't understand if you don't cuss. Right?
That's
And
really,
I love that.
really
It's
fucking
like,
disturbing.
look at this book. And, this is the artist. I've learned so much from watching those shows, your shows. And then it's gotten me so into it. But yeah, that's kind of how I got started in comic books.
Not Caesar's show.
What's that? What did you say?
You mean Jason or James' shows, right? Not Caesar's show.
She's talking about the Code Blue shows, and now my
okay,
show.
that tracks. I get that.
You son of a bitch.
You have to be careful on their shows because there was one time he had 2 high-grade CSS books that I needed, and I threw out a stupid offer, and he came down, and we were like, I don't remember, it was like $200 apart or whatever, and I wasn't going to budge, and freaking Greg Holmes jumps in and goes, I'll kick in the $200. I was like, thanks, Dick. Now I got to spend $1,000. I was like,
yeah, that's exactly how it happened. Yeah. You got to be careful with that guy.
I can't.
When I made that offer for our painting, I didn't know he was in the room, and he fucking.
You should have asked for 10,000. He'd be like, okay.
And let me tell you, I will tell you, hands down, I love everybody on here. He is hands down the nicest guy in the community.
And most generous. One of the most generous.
And I'll tell you, the reason why I'll say that is I've been after a GSX1 forever. I had my X-Men 1. I had the whole run. The only book I didn't have was GSX1. And he knew I was after it. And he also knew I wanted the FF48. And he messaged me on the side and said he had it. And he said, what were you willing to pay? I didn't want to send him a thing. He goes, how about if we just do this? And I was like, done. I was like, I mean, I couldn't say no. I mean, it's like the vault, like this dumbass up here did the other night when he said, he gave me the offer for it. And I was like, yeah, I can't say no to that. I was like, because he just sold it to me for less than what I should have paid for it. Yeah. And he goes, because he asked me, he goes, are you flipping it? And I was like, shit, no. I was like, that is staying in my personal collection. I was like, unless I get a higher grade, that book ain't going, that vault is going nowhere. But Greg Holmes, I'm telling you, that guy is the nicest guy ever.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, I got to say that not only do I agree with you, but Greg Holmes has so much just emotional, an emotional balance in my book, because after the LA fires. We all got together and donated.
Yeah, we did.
But not like Greg.
Nope.
Greg donated Fantastic Four #1, just an insane amount, all for charity, all for just out of nowhere. Just on the cusp. And wow, I mean, it was such a moment where I could say, you know what? There's nothing. There's no price. And if he throws one at me, I'm like, I got to take it because of what you've done for the community.
Yeah,
well,
Greg's
this whole
deal.
community. I mean, he's the shining star, but this whole community. I mean, people throw in credits and help people out. I do it all the time. I mean, I have no problem throwing in credits for people, especially when you're trying to, like, if someone's trying to buy that big book right there and they're off, man, you can almost crowdsource $200, $300, $400 into credits.
Sure,
you know,
it's happened. We've seen
it
it.
happens all the time. I mean, but this community is one of the most awesome communities around, without a doubt. And the people on this show right now are all part of that. And without a doubt, without the people on this show right now,
Kevin, back at you, brother.
Yeah. So what do you got there, James?
Well, you're talking about Greg. So Greg, like me, have a similar PC, right? So we collect similar books. And I've sold Greg several Marvel Mysteries. He sold me a few that he's found. So we're always on the lookout for Schomburg is the artist, World War II, Marvel Mystery books. And this is not a new thing. So these are not mentioned in the Seduction Innocent. This is typically 1943, 1944 in that area. And this particular one is the very last Japanese war cover for Marvel Mysteries. And these Marvel Mysteries are spectacular with the colors and so forth. But what's interesting about these is Schomburg, he was such a respected artist at the time that he had pretty much free reign, for the covers. And the publishers were just excited to have him do their covers. And he was doing things like talking about or Human Torch is fighting the Japanese or fighting Hitler before we were at war with Germany. And think about that for a minute. You got a guy that's pumping out, that's producing this artwork, basically showing, and same with Captain America. Captain America is fighting Hitler before we went to war with them, which is pretty badass. And anyway, so you're talking about Greg. This was the first. This is the first book that I sold Greg, and I also sold him the lithograph for this. But if you look at these, if you have a chance, you look up Schomburg, Marvel Mystery, World War II. They're really fascinating covers. This one.
Can you square that so we can see it?
I'll try to get it where there's not.
Without the glare, I got you.
So I do that by.
There we go.
That's pretty good right there.
By design, but on this cover, they have a death ray pointed at Manhattan, and if you look down, you can see the Empire State Building. And they just had all kinds of unique, but all of the Marvel Mysteries have this beautiful, deep.
The colors are just so vibrant. It's like wall art.
This is a low grade copy, 3.5. But Greg and I have spent a lot of time talking about Schomburg and Marvel Mysteries, and that's one thing that he and I have in common, and that's other than Senate books and the run of Perfect Crime. Those are primarily the ones that
I'm going to age myself here because I can.
Mm-hmm.
When I was young, back in my day, when I used to sit there and look at my brother's album covers, and I would stare at them. And there were ones you open them up, and there's double albums, and you would look at some of this art, and I would felt like hours just stare at them.
Oh yeah,
that reminds me of some of these PCH and Golden Age books. You can stare at them and always find something, find something new the second, third, fourth time around, right? So the book that James was just holding, you could probably stare at it and go, "Oh, I never noticed that building.
You
I never noticed that little thing." And
what was your first album, Caesar? That's something your brother gave you.
That I used to stare at. I think I used to stare at Kansas. It was the one with Kansas, the one with the aardvark on it, like a tank.
Yeah.
I used to stare at that Queen album with the robot, with the the opera, whatever it is. Anyways, where the robots holding all the band members coming out of their hands. I used to stare at that stuff. And I used to go, God, this is so great. First of all, we don't have that anymore. That's the way of the dodo. And the same thing with these books. So, Jason, were you gonna, before I go on to my next question, did you have something you want to show?
No, I was just kind of, when we were talking about just things we fell in love with. This one to me is like my favorite cover here. And let me bring. Let me stand up and see if I can not get my
You're good.
screen. There we go. So, glare is a bitch, and James and I will attest to the challenges. But this is just a one of unseen. It's a short run, like 10 issues in it, if that. This is Jack Katz cover and art, and for some reason, I collect mummy books. That's my thing, and this one just always screams out to me as the coolest mummy book. And maybe it's just the way he drew the mummy. Maybe it's the way the mummy is just terrorizing this guy and pushing him into the sarcophagus and crouching on it. But this is horror. This is true pre-code horror.
Yeah. Okay, couple of things. One, I'm going to ask the question, but Father has a question for you guys. James and Jason, what's the pre-code book you want that you have never owned or even seen in person?
Or even seen?
In person.
That's a tough one, right?
I
would have seen, because you guys have seen and held a lot of these books. What's that one? Let's put it this way.
What's Elf #1? It's your lucky night.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I know exactly what it is.
19.
It's what's the issue number? Is it 24? Crime Does Not Pay. I think it's 24, but the stovetop, where the most brutal Charles Bureau cover, where he is holding the girl's head to a gas stove, basically burning her face.
Yep, that's it.
How can these books be corrupting the young mind? I don't understand. It's fucking ridiculous.
This is it.
Wow.
For me, this is it. And I will own this book. Hit Comics from 1940, the one I was showing earlier, and I have I commissioned.
Hold on, Dan.
I commissioned that artwork behind me, but this right here.
That's
Scoop Comics.
Scoop Comics #2.
Wow,
Look at that.
Looks fascinating. Those greens, that blue, that baby blue.
Yeah,
right?
I've never seen that. Have you ever seen it, James?
Oh, I've seen it, not in person. I've wanted it for a long time. And if you see it like a point, there was one that was for sale. There was one for sale that was a 0.5. Check this out, a 0.5. It had tape all over it. It was hammered mess. And it was still like 10 grand. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm looking at the last sale on Heritage. It was a 1.0 brittle pages for just over 10 grand.
There you go.
And there's only 17 on Census.
Scoop 2, man. That's the book. So I will.
Wow.
Well, I've always wanted a nice copy of Hit. That took me about 5 years. And
those books are a bitch to find. I mean, you just don't ever see them.
No. What's yours, Mr. Rooters? What's that book you that white whale of yours?
Well, I hate to even say it because I'm not gonna get it, but it's got to be a Chamber of Chills 19 for me.
Same.
I was about to say you showed the 18 earlier. I was about to say, too bad it isn't one issue later.
Which one's the 19? Is that the
glass? The glass with the skull through
it. The glass with the skull. Yeah. I gotta admit, if there's one.
I got a good story about one of those. I'll tell you.
Yep.
Go. Yep, that's it right there. So that set, people, is the famous Chamber of Chills 19. I mean, that is it's iconic. I have an
album cover too.
I have a shirt of it. It's extremely well known. They've done homages to it in the modern books. It is a fantastic. So, James, before we move on, tell me your story about that book.
So I've had it a few times. I had a 4.5 that I sold on the show.
You should have sold it to me.
Well, this is the story. So it was a 4.5. It was before you guys were watching the show. It was a while back. So it was a 4.5. It was a 4.5.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the time, I was firm at
50.
I was firm at 18,500. And somebody, I won't tell you who it is. And it wasn't Greg. It's somebody else.
No, Greg would have paid you the 18.5.
Well, I'll tell you the story. So, the person offered me 17, and I said to him, "The answer. Thank you for the offer, first of all, but the answer is no." And there was no spin on it. I said the price is 18.5, and or if you'd like, it's 18.5. And he said, "Can you show? Can you? I have 4 dogs, a Doberman, a pot cake, and a couple of Shih Tzus." And he said, "Can I see the newest one was this little Shih Tzu?" So can I see the Shih Tzu? I said, "Okay, I'll show you the Shih Tzu, but it's 18.5, and I show you the Shih Tzu." And he said, "Deal." Okay, so I showed him Shih Tzu. I showed him Shady. Shady Lady is her name, and because she's shady, she's into all kinds of shady shit. So he bought the book. So he said, "Do you mind if he was doing a competition of some kind in Fort Lauderdale?" He said, "Can I meet you in Fort Lauderdale and pay you in cash?" So I'd like to think I don't, I can handle myself in any situation. But I called Jason. I said, "You mind going with me? We'll go meet this.
That's right.
We'll go together."
Jason's your heavy. Is that what it is? Jason, you're heavy.
I'm gonna meet a dude. I'm gonna meet this dude in the alley. He's gonna hand me 18,500 in cash, and then he's gonna have people waiting for me outside. I didn't know what to expect.
You need the top urologist to be with you just in case.
So we go, right? I mean, I can handle myself, but we go anyway. And I think Jason was also fascinated how this was going to go down. So this guy used to be a police officer, and he scoped out the hotel he was staying in. He goes, "Let's go up here." So there was like this little mini lobby area that was off to the side. And we're talking about different stuff. And
this story sounds like a Poe. You're like, we go to.
I saw this movie. I saw this movie.
So this is legit. So, and I had it in a black case, sealed black case, and I just put it down next to me. And we're talking about other stuff. And then eventually he's like, I gotta see it. And I was like, okay, I'll show it to you. So, open the case and show it to him. And this part of the lobby, it was upstairs, and it was kind of an area, like an area of the hotel where you plug in your laptop and something like that. But it was in the hotel, and it was over in the corner. We go around to the back, and he has all hundreds, right? Stacks of 1,000. And I'm not just going to take the guys. You got to count it right here in front of me. And he counted out $18,500 in cash, and I put that in my front pocket. And I was wearing some jeans, and I said, "Jason, we're going to roll out of here, and I'm getting in the truck. And if anybody stands in my way, I'm rolling right the fuck over them."
Not that this guy isn't a prince, because
he's a good buddy of mine. He's a good friend. I knew who he was.
But at the moment, you never know that there wasn't somebody else who witnessed it or anything else.
I think I saw that episode on Miami Vice, season 3.
So I'm rolling around with the 18.5 burnt, in cash, burning a hole in my pocket, and I made it all the way home without spending it. So that was nice.
I would love to have seen the people looking at you in that bloated pair of pants you had with the 18.5 in the front pocket. It's like, what's wrong with that guy?
They either thought you were a porn star with the bloated pockets, or you had 18.5. Right, exactly.
What do you got going on? That?
So Kevin, what's that white whale of yours?
For me, it's funny because mine is technically not a Golden Age book. It's literally the first Silver Age book. Does anybody know what the first Silver Age book is?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's
not an FF1, is it?
Nope.
No, it's not an FF1.
First Silver Age book. Wow.
1956.
Is it a Strange Tales #1 or
no? I'll tell you the series, and then you'll know what it is as soon as I tell you the series.
All right, what's the series?
Showcase.
Showcase #4.
That's it.
Yeah, the Flash.
That's my white whale.
There you
Flash, go. Yeah. I got to tell you, that's one sexy book. And being a silver lover that I am. So this is my question, and we're getting towards the tail end, and just like that, people, this is what happens. The show fucking flies because we're a bunch of adults who collect books who like to have fun. Let's be honest. I mean, we do, and some drink. So this is the thing, all right. And I'm gonna ask Dan. I'm gonna ask you first because I'm gonna let the other ones sort of let it simmer because I know they're gonna their mind's gonna explode. It's gonna steam. Here we go. Solo on an island. You're taking one book. What book is it?
I'm not
your whole book. It's the one book.
You're by yourself.
I can't answer that.
You're by yourself. It's the one book. And don't say Playboy, James.
That's where I was going.
I know you're going to go there, but no.
Yeah, no, I can't. I read so much. I couldn't. I just rather drown.
I'm bringing the Bible.
Attaboy.
In my front pocket.
You're lying.
Oh shit!
You just about to. As a matter of fact, James, you were this close to burning to flames. Actually, just let you know.
All
right,
he's
coming
like,
down here.
Dear Lord, I brought the Bible. Save me. He's like, for Christ's sake, I sent 4 boats already. Stop looking at the Bible.
Yeah, exactly.
Something in my throat.
Okay,
That's fucking bullshit.
Kevin, what's the one book you're taking with you? What's the one you're saving? All right, let's reverse it. Right, House is on Fire. You can only grab one book. Which book is it?
Oh, if I'm grabbing one book coming out of my house, it's my X-Men #1. No. Actually, it's my Strange Tales 110.
You're
That's
gonna
what
burn to
I'm
death,
grabbing.
Kevin. You're gonna burn to death trying to pick the book.
No, it's Strange Tales 110, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's the first appearance of Doctor Strange. Him and Deadpool and John Constantine are my 3 favorite characters of all time. I could get the John Constantine again. I could get the Deadpool again, but I could not get the 110 signed by Stan Lee again. And that's why I would grab that book. It's my only signed book. It's the first appearance of Doctor Strange, and it's signed by Stan Lee. That would be the book I would grab. I could replace everything else.
See, Billy wins because he's bringing the Survive on an Island for Dummies. That's the winner right there. Thank you, Billy, for bringing that up. All right. How about the Wooters? What's that one book you're taking with you?
I'll go first. So if I had to take one,
Do we have to ask Wendy? I mean, we know which one she's taking.
Why would you
I'm
take
still
a
gonna
slab book to the island with you? Like you can't even read
He's,
it.
he's cracking that bitch. He's cracking.
That's
it.
not true.
I thought it was a
Jason
house
cracks
fire.
books all the time on his show.
It's not a house.
He's
Oh, I
cracking.
thought it was a
Crack
house
it.
fire.
He's
Oh,
a
This is the
house
House Fire. I'm taking House Fire.
Okay, House
That's
Fire.
the one. That's
That's
the
the
one.
one.
Wendy got this for my birthday last year, and it's
Oh, there you go.
This year,
I love it.
Awesome.
like a month ago.
So this is like literally my.
What a man. You're such a man, James.
He's like, really?
my most prized-
He's like, where am I?
I love it.
Yeah.
My pro
I-
prized possession.
I love being on Comic Tom. So it's one of those things that and how about you, Mrs.? What are you thinking? What's your
Well,
book?
I don't own the book yet that I would take with me, but out of the ones right here, I just got it. See this?
It's got to be that vampy.
Just hold that up. I'm just going to run to the bathroom real quick. Just hold that up for a minute. Hold that.
Yes.
There you go.
That's a freaking awesome book.
No, that's one of my favorite books. Yeah.
Just
As a matter
got
of fact,
it.
I was this close, Wendy. You're lucky. I was this close to getting that.
Is that like
a while back.
What is that?
I
a
was
regular
this close.
size book?
No, it's magazine size.
Magazine
Yeah.
size.
Yeah, it's a magazine size. All right, let's go around. Jason, what are you?
Well, you know what? I did kind of show it already that this is probably my favorite right here. That my unseen.
It's actually so true. It's unseen. We can barely see it.
We literally can't see it. We literally can't
and I
see
can't
it.
You gotta
even.
stand up and put it in front of your shirt.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll
There
show
you
it
go.
again here.
There you go.
There it is.
And then it's the glare, but that's one of the.
But we can see it with the glare. We
James
can't
ain't
see it when
taking
it
the
green
book, he's
screens it.
taking
That
Elvira.
is
There we
such a damn cool book, though. Damn.
It really is.
That's a cool thing. Now, are you? What about you, James? And I'm saying book, not talking about. You're not taking that on the island. I'll tell you that right now.
She's very chatty. I'm trying to keep her. Just telling her that she's very chatty. She has her own ideas, but she literally went out and got this code blue tattoo.
Oh,
And,
yeah,
She did not ask. She did not ask permission to do that.
Naughty
And we're
girl.
not- that's
She
an
eat
on-
it.
Poor,
That's
poor,
an ongoing-
poor James. Poor James starts having like hallucinations.
It's an ongoing conversation.
Caesar,
But-
don't stop him. Let him keep going with that picture.
So that's her there. So
Have you ever met her?
I have met her. Yeah, I have a signed photograph from her too.
What's your book, sir?
I don't have it with me.
No, well, what is it?
Well, it's difficult because it would just be for the cover mainly, and not because I wouldn't be reading it really, but it's just the cover, and that is Mask. I'm not saying I have a high grade copy.
Oh.
Mask number 2.
Is that the face, the devil face? Is that
Hold
the
on.
devil face?
Yeah,
No.
I think so.
Is it a devil?
Is that the devil face? That's what's his face?
all
It's
the shit going around it, I think.
it's the one with the. It's basically, isn't it a self portrait of the artist?
No,
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of someone else then.
Hold on.
Oh, great. Here we go.
I don't have
There's
it
the
here. It's in
glasses.
the.
Oh shit! The glasses went on. Watch out.
Yeah, forget it.
It's happening.
Getting real
You
now.
know-
Now it's getting real.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I
Here
just
it is.
noticed that.
Here it is.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I don't think so, Dan. You dumbass. Get out of here. Jesus.
That's your book, really? Wow, that's pretty great, man.
You know, I just forgot I have the power here. Hold on. See you. So long, Dan.
There you
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a good one. That's a great one.
Oh, that's the one. That's the one. Yes,
Make-
yes,
make,
yes.
Make
yes.
it make it big. And you can take good look.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hold on.
I think. Do you have mask? Do you have the issue number 1?
I do. Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm surprised you wouldn't grab that.
That's one of those books that is so eye-catching with the colors between the sort of almost like an ombre of the yellow and the red for the mask logo. It is absolutely stunning. Now, what's the book I'm thinking about with the self-portrait of him as a devil? Which book is that?
Oh, you're talking about.
Are you not Terrifying Tale?
Yeah, he's talking about.
I'm
thinking about Terrifying
not-
Tales.
But he's not really. It's not really L.B. Cole. It's just a double cover.
But
It's just double cover, right?
but he's crying, which is
Yeah.
like
It's
Mask.
It's
So
more-
mask number 1 is beautiful as well. I mean, I've got both. Mask number 1 is. It's the same old situation, right? You have something, and you've had it for a while, and then you get something there's something that you don't have that you really want, so then you chase that, so it becomes more attractive. But mask number 1 is a gorgeous cover. But what I like about number 2 is just imagine L.B. Cole. He's getting ready to paint mask number 2, and he goes, you know what? Let's paint half of this guy's face yellow, and the other half blue. And let's give him, I don't know, green hair, and let's do that with all these other people. And knowing and understanding that that's all going to work once it's all done. I mean, just that level of creativity. I mean, look at that. I mean, there's just, before you paint this, you're thinking about, let's make these faces 2 different colors. They're very different colors. It just would not really occur to anybody to think that that's going to work, right? That's going to work. And I'm a big fan of the comedy and the tragedy at the top.
right.
It's just really good. It doesn't, and it was banned because it was, oh my God, it's Satan.
Well, and there's only the 2. That's
That's
it.
it. That's it.
There's only 2.
The full run is 1 and 2, and that's it. I'll find one for here in a minute.
there you go.
I've had one for a while too.
Look at that King Kong. Show that King Kong. That's a beautiful book.
Wow,
Oh,
look at
the
that.
Dave
That's
Stevens.
awesome.
But you guys are talking about Schomburg and Cole, and these guys are another level.
Yeah, show that again, Dan.
But I mean, even though this is not anywhere near Golden Age or pre-code, I mean, I do
Still badass.
These types of covers, they're just what you guys were showing tonight. They're just beautiful covers. I mean,
Right.
I love to read the books, and that's my favorite thing. But the covers in the book you were showing, they're like wall art. I mean, they're like works of art. Like legit, I put them on the wall. I mean, they're just so beautiful.
Yeah, there's. And I'll say it again.
That's number one.
That's the one. That's
the
number
one.
Damn.
That's the one I thought you were gonna pull.
This is the one I thought you were. I gonna say it first, and I got to tell you that
Beautiful.
I love that. To me, is books like that are meant to be hung.
So when you look at this cover, what's very unique about this is the more you look, the more you see.
Yeah.
I mean, these are people with their maws flying towards the flame.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And there's a bunch of people.
That.
There's a bunch of people in there, and their maws flying to flame. It says evil down at the bottom. Oh my gosh! It also has comedy and tragedy, but I mean, I love both of them equally. And it's not when I read his first autobiography, they asked him about, what did you think about when you were doing these covers? And he said, I thought about movie posters. And he said, my objective was when I did a cover initially, these are from the 40s, by the way, like mid 40s. When I did a cover for a comic book, I wanted somebody to walk into that shop and look across the room, and they could see that cover from across the room as if it like a movie poster, and it would just grab you and pull you right in. And that makes perfect sense when you hear him. When he was interviewed, he talked about that. When you look at Mask 1 and Mask 2, can you imagine being a little teenager or a young kid walking into a little soda shop or whatever and seeing that across the room? Holy shit!
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
It's so epic. There's just not even anything close.
Yes, that's 1942 and 1943 era.
God, it's fascinating, and we can talk about this till the cows come home, because if you catch these guys' live shows on Saturdays, they do talk about it till the cows come home. They stay up pretty late, and yet everybody who loves them stay up late with them, and that shows the character of these two, the love they have for this era, the love they have for the community, to stay up late, sell books, and even if they don't sell any books in hours, it doesn't matter, because they come back the next following weekend and they do it all over again. And it's one of the great things about this community. And I always say it every single time. This community is massive in size, but it's tight and small because everybody knows one another. And that's why you have to treat each other well, because if not, your name gets dragged through the mud, and it's not good. I hate it. I hate it. And that's why I always try to bring more positive side to things. And and these guys right here, and Wooters and Kevin and Dan and everyone that I always bring on the show, we bring them on because I care about them, and they're a good part of the community. So this is the part of the show where we're going to wrap up. We're going to give everyone a chance to plug whatever they got coming on. We're going to go with Dan first, because why not? And he has some stuff to plug. What do you got? What do you got there?
Is that Spider-Man behind you? Nice.
Well, thanks for noticing. Yes, it is.
That's a big Spider-Man.
Yes. Well, if you don't find me here, looking like a complete jackass because I don't know the topic or the subject matter that well, which I do, but I do enjoy coming on the comic menu.
You're a very confident, handsome-looking man with great.
Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice. That's very nice.
You can find me on Instagram, Tree City Comics. I'm always every Wednesday posting about the books I'm reading. So don't let it spoil what you're going to read. But if you've read the books, you're welcome to come and look at my posts every Wednesday that I write about the books that I'm reading. And, I love to connect with you on Instagram. Also, you can find me on the Comic Underground. I will tell you they're getting ready to have their Anti-Con, which is coming the week of Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I want to say 27, 28, 29. And on Sunday the 29th, I will be actually selling at noon Eastern time. So you can find me on the Comic Underground at their Anti-Con. Selling Sunday the 29th at 12 p.m. Eastern.
Wow, you're actually gonna sell now,
dude. I'm a way better buyer than seller, but I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna blow stuff out because I gotta make some room. I got a ton of stuff here.
Yeah.
You sound
the
like
first one's the scariest.
I mean, I've sold before online, but I don't do it often.
Yeah. Well, listen, with that face, he's gonna sell thousands.
Hey,
He's going to sell thousands. Kevin, what do you got going on? I know you got a show coming up soon.
I actually don't have one coming up soon. I was just live this past weekend. I sell exclusively on Elite Comics 11. Usually we do group sales, but I'm also part of the couch crew. So Excelsior Slabs, Underrated Comics, Jeff and Ali and those guys. I'm part of their group as well. And so you'll probably see me with them next. I would imagine probably a couple weeks out, but that'll be on the lead as well. But yeah, look, if you see me on there selling, make offers. I sell pre-code on there. I sell gold. I sell Silver Age. I sell all kind of books. I mean, I sell a lot of books, and just catch me on there. And like I said, you see my name. It's ATL K-Dog. It's the same across every platform, so it's easy to figure out.
All right. Where can we find you guys? This lovely couple of mine.
So at Wooders_Wonders, Mrs._Wooders. And thank you guys for inviting us on. We had a great time. We love all you guys. Tree City, K-Dog, you guys, if I recall correctly, I think you gave us credits like on our very first show. We don't consider ourselves sellers. It was just more of, like I was telling you guys before, I bought for many years and just kind of need to sell some stuff off. But you guys give credits on our first show, and we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. James, Jason, we love you guys. Your shows are freaking incredible. We look forward to it. It's almost like a date night for us to hang out and do this shit. So we love you guys for that. We appreciate it. Dracula, you and your badass reels that you do, we love you guys. We have an unofficial date. I don't know the exact one, but I want to say it's like mid-July. I think Matt with Carmine's Comics, I think we're doing a marathon. I want to say July 16th, but I could be wrong. But it's like mid-July. We're probably going to try to hop on and do something for that. But we got wiped out on our last show like pretty hard, which was incredible. We were super grateful for that. So that's what we got going on. But we love you guys and we appreciate you all.
Well, I brought you guys on here for a reason, so come on. All right, now we can't both put both of you guys on the big screen. So why don't Code Blue and Mr. Crime tell us what's going on? When's your next show, and what do you got? And all that good work we find you, and all that good shit.
Go ahead, Jason. You do your thing.
All right. So the next show that I know is happening.
Jason. Hold on. Turn down the music first.
Turn the fucking music down, Jason.
Where's the music? Turn down the fucking music.
Sounds like an AM/FM transistor radio.
That's right.
Sorry, that was rude.
What would you guys do without our entertainment? So,
what type of book is it, Jason? What type of book?
Hey, Jason,
on the 28th, I think we're both doing anti-con for 8. I have the 8 o'clock spot, and then I think Code Blue goes after that, and then we're going to lead in to our show at 10 o'clock on the 28th. Who knows? Maybe this week I'll pop on. Code Blue's going to be up at in Charlotte for HeroCon. I unfortunately I'm working Friday night. So Wendy knows how that is.
Good old night shift, baby.
Duty calls.
That's good, man. Well, listen, there's some good things, there's some good things, and there's some bad things, but we always talk about the good things on this show and you guys are all on the good show, on the good things list. So you guys know where to find me, the real Dracula's Wolf. I'm still doing the voiceovers.
Hey, Dracula, I got one thing to mention.
Yes.
Hold on, and we have to do a giveaway.
Are we doing
giveaway? The giveaway. Yes. Okay, go ahead, James.
We have a giveaway.
We do?
I'll find
something. You got a giveaway? All right,
this is Caesar. Sure. Let me find
this is Caesar from Dracula.
I humbly accept that, Wendy, on behalf of all the viewers.
Yeah. Are you giving away that Code Blue glass?
No, I'm just gonna mention. I'm going to Heroes. I'll be at Heroes Con, but I'll probably do a like a pop-up show at Heroes. With right now, I'm talking to RH Midwest. He's got a lot of big Golden Age books, and if you know of anybody, or you guys are heading over to Charlotte, pop by and say hey. And I'll probably be spending a lot of time hanging out at Cove Comics, and K-Man and a bunch of other guys will be there. So I'll hang out with those dudes. And like Jason said, we'll do the Anti-Con. And I'm going on first at Anti-Con on Saturday, I think 8 o'clock, and then Jason's going. And then
one of the two. I'm not sure which one.
Jason, what kind of book is this?
That's a tough book.
It's a badass book.
It's a tough book, Jason.
Tough book.
Look at those colors pop.
All right.
What are you guys giving away?
In light of pulps.
And the whole
Oh, look at that!
And it's a Brundage.
Wow.
Very nice.
Jason knows this book.
Wait a minute. Hold the phone. So how you guys want to do this?
James has to spin the wheel. I don't.
We're gonna ask for some numbers.
So we got to take numbers.
I don't want to be a pain in the ass. If we can't do it, we can't do it. But I
damn dumbass.
Let's say we have 16 people on here, right? So we're gonna see if we have
You can't write claim, dude.
Can't get reclaimed, you douchebags.
That's what I was saying.
I can't.
All right,
I got there first, brother.
All right, pay attention, you dumbasses. Everybody who's in the comments, give me a couple numbers. Give me a number from 1 through 16. All right. Yeah, this is only 16. It's dropped. We should have done this when we had 30-some people. We're gonna go. You know what? Fuck you guys. No, forget it. You know what? Save it, Wooters. We're gonna do it next time.
All right, we'll save it.
Save it.
We'll have the roulette wheel all set up, and
we'll have the roulette wheel. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it next time.
Sorry, I shouldn't.
No. It's perfectly fine. You're not. No. We're not gonna do it, guys. Sorry.
I like I like your lights up there, Caesar. Those are cool.
Oh, you like that, right? Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, I finally had to do something. It's tough. It's tough lights.
Tough lights.
15, 18,
They're tough lights. Tough lights.
All these numbers are coming in.
So I know, too late. That's too
Vintage
late.
pick 4.
No, for fuck's sake, come on.
Pick 4 numbers, dude. What the hell's the matter with you?
So Caesar, you're really pissing in the punch bowl here.
Caesar,
you know what?
I'm thinking of a number, Caesar. I'm not looking at the content.
69.
I'm not looking at. So if you have all the numbers, I'm not looking.
Like we could pull it off.
I'm not looking at the comments.
Vintage Shark, you can only pick one. I'll take 0, 15, 18, and 27
That's that boy right there.
You
Vintage.
picked 1 through fucking 16.
Sweet Jesus, everybody. Listen, guys, we don't have enough people here to give off the book. That's why. So stop saying any numbers. No more.
Sorry, I should have brought out.
Yes.
Who's you guys know where the free books are.
We'll do
All you
it
gotta
on
do is come to our show.
We'll do it on Crime City and Code Blues next show.
There you go.
Yeah, you guys jump on.
This way.
Yeah, you can jump in live to his show.
Next show,
do that.
We'll do that. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Who wants to ask? Who wants to ask me a question?
I want to ask you a question.
Can you put the blue lights back? I like the blue lights.
Like the blue lights, like? Oh.
Yeah,
Yes, sir, master.
Get your shit
Yeah, we
together,
definitely don't
Caesar.
have time to pick a comic book for the crowd, but we can definitely cycle through Caesar's lights.
There you go, buddy.
What an asshole.
I was just
All right.
curious.
Yes.
You have X-Men 6, 9, 10, and 12 up there. Do you have the rest of them, or is that all of the ones you have?
That's all I have because that's all I can afford. That's all James could give me.
Okay.
So this is the thing, people, and I'm going to say this again. Before the fucking wheels fell off the wagon, you can catch me on the wheel on the Instagrams. I'm still doing reels. I just dropped a new slapping figure reel today for Tiger Shark. Right there. Ooh, there he is.
Yeah.
And if you are wanting a reel in a world where Cold Blue and Crime City rock your world. You know, it's kind of funny. It looks different when you see my face. I'm a kid. I'm a moron. All right, guys. I got to tell you, this was fun. This was fun, and
fun, man.
It always goes so fast.
I'm telling
Very nice
you,
crew here.
I remember the very first time I told somebody, I forgot which guest, they're like, how long do you guys stay on for? We're like, we go about 2 hours. Our longest show, I think, was 4 hours. And they're like, holy shit, 2 hours. What are you talking about? I go, come on, you'll see how quickly it goes. And sure enough, 2 hours flies like that.
Yeah.
Next week, just to promote next week's show, we have a special guest who confirmed he had to drop out last week. But that's your Dan, that's your hint. He will be on next week. I'm contemplating releasing who it is to promote the show. It's not Elvira, but James wishes. He's taking that to the island all by himself. I hate to see the end of that. By the end of the
He'd get rescued with that picture covered in like 4 inches of shame glaze.
My eyes are up there.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
But next week, Elvira's pretty cool, dude.
She's not. I hate to say it. She looks good because she's no spring chicken.
No, I've know. She likes the tough talk too.
Say now we know the show's ending because it gets ridiculous. All right, guys. Next week, catch myself and Dan Ish. Comic Sam will be on. We're gonna get Fable on, and then our special guest will come on. And trust me, you're gonna want to be here. Love all you guys. Love everyone here. I brought you guys all in here for a reason because I truly do care about you guys. Wooters, we're gonna meet up.
Yes,
hands down. Albuquerque, we're gonna meet up. I'm gonna bring my other buddy who's a comimic guy.
Hey, green or red, dude? Green or red?
Yeah, green or red.
I prefer green actually.
There you go.
I prefer green. Yeah, or Christmas. Yeah, that depends.
We'll take it.
So, and originally, guys, I'm from LA.
Oh yeah, we're from. Well, fuck. Yeah. I probably lived next to you over in California too. I'm not from New Mexico.
Yeah, I'm from LA.
San Fernando Valley.
Ventura.
San Fernando Valley over there. Ventura, there you go. I stayed in North Hollywood for tons of years.
Where in New Mexico are you right now?
I'm in. They're in. Where are you guys at?
We're just south of Albuquerque. We're in Bosque
and he's
Farms.
Like you're west.
I'm like 30. Yeah, I'm like 30 minutes from Albuquerque.
Okay, I was gonna say because I when I was growing up, I lived in El Paso for a while, so that wouldn't have been too far from you either.
Just
so
a couple hours south of us.
Yeah. Kevin, you can't interject in this conversation. You have nothing to do with
this isn't my favorite.
It's nothing. It's nothing like. It's like James saying, "Oh, where are you from?" Oh, because I was in Connecticut.
We're gonna move
El Paso is pretty fucking cool, though. El Paso is cool.
And our kids
Yeah,
are
whatever.
The little ones
I like El Paso.
are grown. We're going to Florida. New Mexico's not my favorite.
I love the state.
Hey, Code Blue and Crime City can show you places. That's where they are.
You don't want to see their places they want to show you. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm building the house in the fucking Bahamas, bro.
Shut up.
This guy.
It's more affordable than you would imagine.
Than you could think, right? All right, everybody. So that being said, we'll see you guys next week, and be good to each other. As I always like to say, don't be a douche, and have fun.